study is going to be focused on your writing as well as your listening, which will take place tomorrow morning. How many of you know which paper will start first? Okay. Javier, which paper will start first?
Composition.
Very good. Okay. And how long will your composition paper last? Anyone? What is the duration of your composition paper? Ada?
50 minutes.
50 minutes, 50 minutes. Very good. Excellent. And Mr. Pang taught you to divide your 50 minutes into two portions, right? Can you all remember what was the two portions I asked you to divide the time into? Anyone? Yes, Jing Kai.
5 minutes into looking at the picture.
Very good. Okay, so the full duration is 50 minutes. You may also want to write this down so that you remind yourself of this in your notebook or your foolscap paper. Okay, and time for planning should be 5 minutes. Okay, time for checking should be 5 minutes. Time for writing. Okay, so your planning and your checking are 10 minutes in total, and your writing should be 40 minutes in total, okay? Right? Later on, we will go into what you are planning for, what you are checking for, and what you are writing for, okay? But for now, I want you to very quickly just scribe into your books this time division. Nobody should start writing without first spending 5 minutes doing a very quick plan of what they want to write. And I'll show it to you. And nobody should end the writing exercise without 5 minutes of checking. And you check for 3 things. And I will again show it to you later. Okay? I will model the entire process so that you know exactly what to do at each point of time. Okay? So it's 5 minutes, 40 minutes, followed by 5 minutes. Okay? So 5 minutes for planning, 40 minutes for writing, and 5 minutes to check your work at the end of your writing, just before you hand it up to the teacher. Some very quick administrative details. Some of you may have questions. Do I leave a line? The answer is yes. Please leave a line. It's neater. And do you know why I asked you to leave a line? Because when you leave a line, you will be able to insert words much easier. Do you understand what I mean, everybody? Later, when you go back, right, you want to insert a word, you want to put in an adjective, you want to add an adverb. It's easier when you have a line between your lines, correct? Then you can just do an inverted caret and write the additional word in that blank line above your written line. It's very easy. So remember to leave a line because that will help you when you go back and add words at the end of your composition. If you don't leave a line, it will be very crowded and messy, and you may make a mistake where to insert the word. So don't forget to leave a line. Okay, Mr. Pang has taught you this, right? Anytime you are writing by yourself, leave a line. Anytime Mr. Pang is writing with you, then you don't need to leave a line because there will be nothing that's needed to be added to it, okay? So always remember to leave a line. And why? Mr. Pang has explained to you why, right? Because you can insert additional words much more easily. Okay, now, without further ado, let's go into the planning phase, okay? The planning phase will take 5 minutes. And what I want to do is I want to do 3 things, right? Please write this down. 1, I want to identify the keyword. Okay. 2, I want to link the word to the pictures. And 3, I want to choose my perspective. Okay. Am I going to be first person? Or am I going to be third person? Okay. We'll get to 1, 2, and 3 shortly. So everybody, can you look at the question here and tell me what is the keyword of this writing task? What is the keyword of this writing task? Anyone? Looking at the picture, looking at the question, can anyone tell me what is the keyword of this writing task? What's the most important word I must pay attention to and write my story around? It should be quite easy, right? It's right there. Anyone? Yes, Chloe, go ahead.
Sad day.
Very good. So the keyword is a sad day, right? So I want to focus on, can you see over here, right? The keyword is always going to be in bold. Okay, can you see here? A sad day. And then I'm going to go further and I'm going to circle the word sad. Okay, so this is my keyword, right? Why is it important? Because my keyword is going to tell me how I'm going to write my story. My story is going to have to be a sad story, right? It's going to be a sad story. Another thing that Mr. Pang has taught you is to link the story to the weather. Can you remember Mr. Pang taught you this? To link the story to the weather. So when your story is a sad story, what kind of weather should it be? Anyone? Yes, Josiah? Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Should be a gloomy, overcast day.
Very good. So it's going to be bad weather, right? It's not going to be sunny. It's not going to be cheerful because it's going to be something sad. Okay. So when I look at my, shall we say, when I look at my, hold on. Okay. Sorry. When I look at my keyword, I'll be able to link my keyword to the weather. Okay, so it's going to be bad weather. Okay, it's going to be gloomy because it's going to be a sad story, right? So the keyword not just tells me what to write, it also tells me what weather I'm going to use in my first paragraph when I introduce my story. Do you all get it? So if it's going to be an exciting day, it's going to be like sunny. If it's going to be like an adventure, outdoors, it's going to be good weather. But if it's going to be gloomy, sad, or indoors, it's going to be bad weather. Okay, so we will elaborate on that later. Next, let's link the word to the picture. Can you all still remember Mr. Pang taught you how many pictures should you use? Fabian, why don't you say it out loud to everybody so everybody can hear you, not everyone can see you? One, okay. Can you use two? Can you use three? Can. You can actually, right? In this case, right, you can see that the pictures are linked, right? Can you see the pictures are linked? Can you see that this picture leads to this picture, and this picture leads to this picture, and then this picture leads to the end, right? Which is not known, okay? There's an unknown ending here. So you can use all three pictures. But if you don't want to follow the pictures, how many should you use at least? What did Fabian say? Everybody use your fingers to show me. How many pictures should you use at least? One. Okay? So if the pictures are not linked, or if the pictures are linked, but you only want to use one picture, one is the minimum you should use. So number two, I have linked the word to the pictures, and I should now be ready to do my writing. Okay? So I should be ready to do my writing. So, hold on, sorry. What happened? Okay, sorry, Mr. Pang is having some technical issues. Okay, so when I link the words to the pictures, I need to choose at least one picture, okay? And usually it's the first picture, right? But never mind, let's say I use all three pictures, I'll follow it. By the way, you all have done this practice, right? You should be very familiar with this story, okay? So I want you to compare what you have written with what I have written, okay? And then finally, I have to choose my perspective. Now, can anybody still remember what I mean by the word perspective? We have not talked very much about this, right? So what is the first person and what is the third person? Can anyone remember? I'm sure somebody here remembers. Yes, Josiah, did you raise your hand? Go ahead. Tell us what's the first person and what's the third person in your own words.
The first person is the girl in the first picture feeding the rabbit.
No, that's not what first person is. Okay. Anybody remembers what is first person and versus third person? Jing Kai?
The first person is the main character, while the third
No,
person is the narrator.
no, not true. Javier?
First person is you are the main character, and
Mm,
third person is you are telling someone about the main character.
very good. So if I'm the first person, I am the main character. So when I write the story, I will use the pronoun I. I lost my rabbit. I was searching for it. I was sad and terrified. I. But if I'm the third person, then I become the narrator, right? Okay, then I tell the story and then I refer to the character by her name. I am no longer the main character. Now, which one is the better choice? What do you all think? Do you think first person or third person is better for this story, and why? Okay, let's start with your fingers. Show me if you think first or third person is better. Go ahead. It's okay. There's no wrong answer. You can do both, right? I just want to know which one you prefer. Okay, there's no wrong answer. Which one do you prefer? Okay, which one do you prefer? Okay, either one or three. There's no two. I shouldn't see any twos. Okay, good, good. I see a lot of ones. Okay, I see a few threes. Okay, so by virtue of your voting, I will use the first person. Is that okay? I think there are more first persons, so I will just use the first person. Now, the advantage of being the main character is that you can share your feelings more easily. Do you all agree with me? Because if I'm the character, I can tell the reader directly how I feel. Okay, so in this case, it will be very effective because I've lost a dear and precious pet. And I want to show the reader how bad and how sad I feel because the story is about a sad day. So I must focus a lot of my story on how sad I feel. So since I'm the main character, I can show how sad I feel. Okay, and I can show the reader why I am sad. Okay, are we ready? Shall we start writing together now? Okay, now let's go to a new line in our book. We can, or in our foolscap paper, we can leave a line and we can start in the first paragraph. Always remember to leave how many fingers of spacing before we start? Show me your, yes, 2 finger spacing. You can use your 2 fingers and very quickly put it there. And then I will start with 2 finger spacing, right? I will begin the story with the scene and the setting, all right? So I will begin usually with the weather and the day, right? It's up to you how you want to start, but this is usually the way we start, right? It was a gloomy and rainy Saturday afternoon. Now, why do I use Saturday? Because the character, right, me, I am in my home clothes. I'm not in my school uniform, right? So it's probably not a school day, right? It's probably a weekend. And that's why I'm home. And that's why in the afternoon, instead of being in school, I am at home. Okay? I was happily playing with my pet rabbit. Okay? Now, this would be a very good place to give some information about how I got my rabbit. Okay? Now, do you all have any suggestions on how I got my rabbit? Yafia?
It was a birthday present.
Okay, right? It was a... Okay, sorry. Hold on. This... hold on. Let me just... okay. 2 finger spacing. It was a birthday present from my parents and I loved it dearly. Right? Now, at this point in time, whenever there is something that you like in a story, like your favorite like pet or your favorite like book or your favorite program or your favorite anything, you must always describe it. Okay, so whatever is in your story, you must spend some effort and time to describe it. Okay, so it was snow white in color, and it had green eyes that were the color of the what's green? What's green? Nathaniel?
Emerald.
Okay, the color of emeralds. Very good. I love that. Okay, like precious stones, shiny, beautiful, and bright. Okay, beautiful and bright. Okay, so can you see I put a comma after emeralds and then I added additional adjectives to describe the eyes of my rabbit. So imagine the beautiful green eyes that look like jewels. Okay, thank you to Nathaniel for supplying the word emeralds. Emeralds are a kind of precious stone. They are expensive and they are used for jewelry. Okay, so I'm comparing my rabbit's eyes to precious jewelry. Okay, this is how much I love my rabbit. Right, so it's snow white in color and it has green eyes. Eyes the color of emeralds, beautiful and bright. Okay, can y'all feel how much I love my rabbit from my description of the rabbit? Okay, now, what would you call a rabbit that is pure white in color with green eyes? Would anyone like to name my rabbit? He is pure white in color with not a blemish. Yishan, sorry?
Oreo.
No, like there's no black one. Oreo is like black and white. No, I don't like. Lucas?
Snowy.
Okay, sure. I'll work with that. Okay, Snowy, right? I named it Snowy because of its beautiful, of its silky white fur. Okay, there you go, right? Snowy loved to eat. What did Snowy love to eat? Let's give two things that are Snowy's favorite foods. Jing Kai.
Carrots.
One thing. Carrots. Caitlin, give me another thing.
Cabbage.
Okay. I like that it begins with C for both, huh? Carrots and cabbages. Okay. Each morning, I would feed Snowy through the doors of its cage. Okay. Right. So far, are you all following the story? I introduce the day. I introduce my pet rabbit. And then I describe my pet rabbit. Okay. So if you are introducing something in your story, please take time to describe it. Okay. Take time to describe it. It's very important to use adjectives like emeralds, beautiful, bright, silky, white, right? To describe what is in your story. Okay, so whatever you're writing, take the time to describe it. The more you describe it, the more powerful your story becomes. Okay, so don't forget to describe what appears in your story. It can be a character, or it can be a pet, or it can be an object. Okay, so describe your character or your pet or your object. Next paragraph, remember, if I do my planning, right? If I do my story mountain, I finish my introduction. What's the next thing on my story mountain when I go up to the next stage What's the next stage of my story mountain after introduction? In case you all forgot, Caitlin, go ahead.
Rising action.
Very good. Okay, so if I draw my story mountain here, this point here is my paragraph 1, is my intro, right? I've already done that. Finish. Yay. Tick. This is my second point. This is my rising action, second paragraph, right? So what happens in the rising action? There is a problem, right? There's always a problem in the rising action. Then here on the top, what happens after the rising action? Anyone? What's the next section? The most important part of the story. What is it? Javier?
Climax.
Very good. So after I finish my problem, right? The problem must get... What must the problem get? The problem must get... Yafia?
Was.
Very good. The problem must get worse. And that's the climax, right? The climax is when the problem becomes worse. Then it becomes better. Okay? So number 4 is when things get better. That means I solve the problem. Okay? And that's my 4th paragraph. And finally, to end everything is my 5th paragraph, the conclusion, right? When everything finishes. The whole story ends in the last paragraph. That is how Mr. Pang taught you all to structure your stories, right? It's always been the same from primary 3 until today. And we are going to do the same thing on Monday. So all of you should be really expert at this, okay? So let's come back to the story, just by way of reminding all of you that this is how you plan your story, okay? This is how you plan your story. When you plan your story, you follow this structure, okay? Introduction, rising action, climax, falling action or solution, and then your conclusion or finishing of the story. Okay? Now we are in the second paragraph. We have to introduce the problem. Okay? So, just as I was feeding Snowy, okay? Now, remember, I want to use the weather to develop my story, right? So what was the weather? The weather was gloomy, right? Okay. Now, what is going to cause me to suddenly run away from the cage? What might happen with the weather to suddenly cause me to run away from the cage? Because I want to make sure that I leave the cage open, right? Then Snowy will escape, right? But before that, I must explain how that happens, what? So what happens to make me run away from the cage, to leave Snowy unattended? Josiah, you want to give us some ideas?
Maybe like maybe the thunder rumble in the distance. After that scare me, then I run away from the cage.
Possible. Maybe you're afraid of thunder and loud sounds, and then it scared you enough to run away. Good. Alpheus, do you have an or different idea?
Maybe my mother needs help setting up something. Maybe in the kitchen.
Maybe my mother needs help to close the windows because it's raining, right? Because remember, I want to link it to the weather. Okay, I want to link it to the weather. Otherwise, it's a bit wasted to talk about the weather and then not mention it again, right, Alpheus? So maybe my mother needs me to close the windows. Maybe like Josiah says, I'm afraid of the thunder. Yishan, do you have something else? Do you want to share?
It's not related to the thunder of the weather, but I suddenly remember that I have homework to do.
No. You know why I don't want that? Because I want to link it to the weather. Do you all understand? Because when I put the weather there, right, there must be a reason why the weather is like that. So why is the weather like that? Because I want to use the weather to distract my character from the cage so that the rabbit will escape. Do you understand? So I build my story in that way. Even the weather is used in my story meaningfully. So Yishan, I know that that is possible, but I don't want because I want to use the weather. Do you understand? It's better to use the weather. Okay, Yishan? Yes, Alpheus, do you raise your hand again?
Yeah, I think maybe they were hanging clothes outside because since it's raining, they had to bring the clothes inside.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a better development than closing the window. Thank you. All right, so let's go with that idea. Okay, I think that's a better developed idea. As I was feeding Snowy, I heard mother yelling for me from the kitchen, right? The kitchen is usually where the clothes are hung out, right? Everybody, you all know that, right? In your houses, if you live in a housing development board flat, HDB flat, usually the clothes are hung out at the kitchen, right? It's not at the hall, it's not at the study, right? It's usually at the kitchen, okay? She needed my help to bring in because of the heavy downpour. So I just don't want to keep on using the word rain. So I use the word like heavy downpour. Okay? Heavy downpour describes the heavy, like falling rain. It's so heavy that it's like pouring water. Okay? So just as I was feeding Snowy, I heard mother yelling for me, right? Mother is like very, very desperate. She needs my help. Okay? And what did she need my help with? Like Alpheus mentioned, she needed my help to bring in the clothes because of the heavy downpour. Excellent. How many of you have helped your parents to bring in the clothes before or help them to clean or fold the clothes? Wonderful. It's great that you are playing an active role in helping your parents. Please do that, okay? Right? Whether you are a boy or a girl, whether you're old or you're young, you must play a role to help daddy and mommy in the house, okay? Whether it is to clean the house or it's to fold the laundry or it's to collect the clothes, it's all good. But if you are too short, please don't try to lean out of the window. Is that clear, everybody? It's dangerous, because when you try to pull these long poles in with the clothes, it can get very heavy. So if you are too short or if you're too young, please don't do that, right? It's very dangerous. Let mommy and daddy bring in the clothes, then you can maybe help to keep it, okay? So that's what happened. I am about to rush off to the kitchen, right? So I must slowly break it down, and this is where the problem happens, okay? Right? Hearing her voice, right? Her yell, okay? I use the word yell, right? Hearing a yell, I sped off to the kitchen. Okay? When I sped off to the kitchen, what did I forget to do? What did I forget to do when I sped off to the kitchen? Yafia?
Forget to close the Snowy's cage.
I forgot to close the door to Snowy's cage because I was feeding her through the door, right? Okay, so I forgot to close the door to Snowy's cage, right? Can you all see Mr. Pang is building line by line? Now, if you do it line by line, and you slowly build the action, right, you will never run out of things to write. You see, we have only at the halfway mark, not even in the second paragraph yet, we have already written 125 words. This is 125 words. Can you all see how fast? We have already gone beyond the minimum number of words. What's the minimum number of words, everybody? 120.
20.
Very good. So you see, it's very easy. If you follow the picture and you write the story line by line and you don't rush, don't just say, I lost my rabbit. You're not breaking down the action. So break the action down line by line. You will be fine, okay? So I forgot to close Snowy's cage. Okay. By the time I rushed back after helping mother. Okay, what happened? By the time I rushed back, by the time I rushed back, what had already happened? What had already taken place? Anyone? Nathaniel, what happened? By the time I rushed back, what happened?
Snowy was nowhere to be found.
Perfect. Okay, Snowy was nowhere. So I'm now in the second picture already. Nowhere to be found. Okay, now stop right here because you cannot continue with the story. You must do something very important here. Before you continue with the story, there is something very important. I talked to you about it last week. I said that there were 4 things to remember. Remember at the end of last week, I told you there are 4 things. Can you all still remember? What must I always include here? Can you remember what's the 4 things I talked about last week? Jing Kai, what can you remember? Tell us.
You must include your character's feelings.
Yes, perfect. And what are the 4 feelings that I told you all to prepare for? Can you remember what are the 4 most common feelings that will appear in most stories? There are 4 most common ones. Okay, Jing Kai, can you name me one? And then Yishan, you can name me another one. Jing Kai?
Anger.
Anger? No. Yafia?
Sad.
Sad. Very good. Can you see? Sad already appear here, right? Sad. Good. Javier?
Happy.
Happy. Very good. Opposite of sad is happy. Good. Happy, sad, and then what are the other 2? The other 2 more difficult to remember, right? The other 2 are a bit more difficult to recall. What are the other 2? They are not anger. Not anger. What's the other 2? Anybody just guess? It's wrong. Never mind. I will tell you you are wrong. No big deal. Josiah?
Frustration.
Close. Okay, I tell you. Okay, Javier, go before I tell you.
Fear.
No. Close. So happy, sad. What else? Okay, I tell you, okay? So please write down. Yafia, go.
Worried.
Yes, very good. And can you tell us the 4th one also, Yafia, since you have the list? Do you remember what's the 4th one? Starts with the letter E. Starts with the letter E. Haha. Okay, Jing Kai.
Embarrassment.
No. Josiah.
Excitement.
Yes. Happy, sad, worried, excited. Okay, worried and excited are opposite, right? Worried is like you're excited but in a bad way. Excited is you're excited but in a good way, right? You're excited about a present. You're worried about a test, right? So they are opposite also. Happy and sad are opposite. Worried and excited are opposite. Most stories will have these 4 emotions, right? Most stories, your characters will either be worried, excited, happy, or sad, right? But the other emotions not so common lah. Disappointment lah, stress lah, anger lah. Yes, it happens, but not so often. Okay. But if you memorize good phrases around happy, sad, excited, and worried, you are quite safe. So here, sad. Okay, I'm going to insert the feelings of sadness. Would anybody like to tell me how to show that I'm sad? What's the easiest way to show that I'm very sad at this point where Snowy is missing? Anyone? Quickly. Yes, Alpheus.
Tears stream down my cheeks.
Okay, all right, good. I burst into sobs and tears stream down my cheeks. Okay, I burst into sobs. Right? Okay, I can't even control myself. And tears streamed down my cheeks. Okay, very good. I want more. Don't stop there. One more sentence to show that I am sad. Use my body to show. Now just my eyes and my face, right? Now my body. What does my body do when I'm sad? What do my hands do when I'm sad? What does my body do when I'm sad? Anyone? Describe someone who looks sad. Josiah, go ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
Sit down on the floor and then hold her knees and then put her head in the middle of
Okay, right. So I will unpack that for you. Okay, so something to do with your head, something to do with your body, right? I slumped to the floor and buried my head, my face in my hands, right? Right? Can you imagine like that? Okay, so you're slumped to the floor and then you bury your face in your hands. Okay, good enough. Okay, see, just by describing my emotions, I have added 4 sentences to my writing. And right now, I am already at 215 words. Can you see how easy it is to build your story, right? I'm just using the same structure and I'm able to build a very good story. I'm already twice the number of my minimum number of words already. And actually, this is a good length, but I'm just going to finish the story, okay?
Huh?
Okay,
That's
very
so
good.
fun.
So next, I'm going to go. I had left the gate open. So Snowy must have run out of the flat. Where did I get the I left the gate open from? I got it from here. Can you see there are helping words here? I try to use as many of the helping words here as I possibly can. Everybody, do you understand? Try to use the helping words, okay? Because they are there to help you. Don't forget to use them if they are there, okay? So I had left the gate open, so Snowy must have run out of the flat. I felt miserable. Okay, because the word miserable is there, right? Mother comforted me. Again, this word is there. Mother comforted me and suggested that I make a poster to put up at our void deck. This poster would have a picture of Snowy along with our contact information so that anyone who found it would be able to contact us to return Snowy. Okay? So is this a solution to the problem? Is this a solution to the problem, everybody? It is, right? So can you see, first paragraph, okay, is my introduction. Second paragraph is my rising action and my climax. Okay, so things got worse. Okay, so the problem, I didn't close Snowy's cage. The problem got worse. Snowy ran out of the flat, right? Got worse, right? So I didn't close the cage door. Then Snowy left the house. That's how the problem got worse. Then my third paragraph onwards is already my solution, right? So my problem in the climax, I left the gate open, Snowy ran out of the flat, I felt miserable. Then the solution, mother comforted me and suggested that I make a poster to put at our void deck. This poster will have a picture of Snowy along with our contact information so that anyone who found it would be able to contact us to return Snowy. Can y'all see? Very coming to a close already, right? I'm going to end the story soon, right? So my third and fourth point is in my third paragraph. And then my last paragraph will be my fifth part of the story mountain, which is to end the story. So how can I end the story? Do I want to end the story in a happy way or in a sad way? Which one do you think I should end? Should I end the story with a happy ending or should I end the story with a sad ending? Yafia?
Happy.
How many of you agree with Yafia that it should be a happy ending? How many of you don't agree? Wave your hand. Wave. Okay. Adele, can you tell me why you don't agree?
So that the story can be more exciting.
Okay, Adele wants to make the story more exciting, so she doesn't want to end it happily. Okay, that's a valid point. Any other reasons? Nathaniel, you raised your hand, right? Very high. Can you tell us why is it not a happy ending? You are right, by the way. Yeah.
The title is about sad day. So it has to be
Very good.
have a sad ending. If not,
Very good.
it won't be sad day anymore.
Correct. Imagine if you are writing a story about a sad day and then you end it happy. What happened to your story? Not a good story anymore, right? Because it's not following the keyword. You must always remember, Yafia, you must learn from this mistake. Is that clear, Yafia? Whenever you are given a keyword in the exam, you must follow that keyword. And that's why Mr. Pang chose this topic today, because I wanted you to make this mistake now so you don't make it tomorrow. Is that clear, everybody? If the story is a sad story, it's a sad day, you must end the story on a sad note. If the story is a happy day, you must end the story on a happy note. Is that clear, everybody? So you must show the keyword in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So you see, beginning, right, is the introduction. Middle, you get very sad because you lost Snowy. Now in the middle, you are trying to find Snowy. So do you think the story will end with me finding Snowy? No, right? So the story will end with me still looking for Snowy, but I'm very sad because I cannot find her. Got it, everybody? Okay, so that will be how I end the story. Why? Because like Nathaniel very clearly told us, and I agree, and like what Adele said, and I also agree, we want to make this story exciting, and we want to obey the keyword, which is a sad day, right? So we cannot end happy. We must end sad, because sad day. Everybody clear? So tomorrow, whatever is the keyword, you must circle like what Mr. Pang did here. And you must remember to use this word at the end of your story so that your story will be sad all the way through, or happy all the way through, or exciting all the way through, or whatever is that word all the way through. Do you all understand? Nod your heads if you understand. Do not make this mistake. Don't forget the keyword while you're writing the story, because that is a very serious mistake. You may fail your composition if you do not obey the keyword. Okay, keyword and picture are very important. So first step, identify keyword. Second step, link the keyword to the picture. Third step, choose whether you are the first person or third person. Usually just choose first person, and then make sure that the keyword goes through all the paragraphs. Last paragraph, we finish. Hooray, and good job, everybody. We have almost come to 1 hour already, you know, right? It's almost 1 hour already, since we started. Okay, so well done for keeping focus, right? If you manage to finish writing in half an hour, then you will have more time to check your work and add more words to your work, right? Check for mistakes and then add to it to make it better. So you lose less marks and you get more marks. Later, I will show you, okay? But first, let's finish the story. Now, we come to the last paragraph. We want to end everything nicely. We want to make sure it is sad. Okay, so remember, cannot find the rabbit. Okay, so I ran downstairs, right? So remember, I cannot just make the poster, right? I must search for Snowy first, right? So I ran downstairs and searched high and low. You all know what search high and low, right? Okay, it's an expression, right? It's an idiom for looking everywhere, right? It's an idiom or expression for looking everywhere. So use your idioms and expressions like I posted in your SLS revision package, okay? Memorize a few of them and use them. I ran downstairs and searched high and low. I asked, who did I ask? Who can I approach to ask for help, right? Yishan?
Neighbors near the void
I
deck.
asked my neighbors who were at the void deck, very good, to help me look around for Snowy. Okay, see, ending already, just 1 or 2 more sentences. However, right, use the word however to show that it did not work. Okay, however, right, our efforts. Please memorize this. Yes, Alpheus, go ahead.
I feel like we can change I asked to I seeked help from my neighbors.
Okay, I sought. Seek is present tense. Sought is past tense. Okay, thank you, Alpheus. I sought my neighbors' help, right? So I sought help from my neighbors. Okay, so y'all can change that. If you don't have enough space or you wrote down already, you just put an inverted caret and add in the words. Okay, remember tomorrow must leave a line. Okay, remember to leave a line. So you can insert these words. Like you see what Alpheus did, right? Alpheus changed the word from ask my neighbors for help, right? So when you leave a line, right, you can cancel and then change it on top, right? With a lot of space to spare. So remember to leave a line, okay? Don't worry if you don't have enough space, you can ask for extra paper. Okay, so tomorrow, if you don't have enough space on two sides of the paper, you can ask for an extra piece and staple it at the end of the exam. So don't worry about paper, okay? But please try to watch out for the time. Don't write so much that you cannot finish writing. Keep your story short and sweet, okay? But just make sure they are writing enough, okay? So, however, our efforts were in vain, okay? It was the what? It was the what? Quick, somebody, it was the what? It was the what? It was the, I want to use the word again. Yafia?
Worst day of my life.
Nope. The one. I already said I want to use the word again. Josiah?
The saddest day of my life.
Yeah, because I want to use the word sad, right? I want to remind the examiner that I have been writing on task all this time, right? So I want to include that word at the end. So it was the saddest day of my life. Okay, then I want to learn the lesson, right? So I want you to memorize this phrase, as I reflected on what had happened. Okay, so you can always use this phrase, You can use this phrase whenever you learn a lesson. As I reflected on what had happened. Whatever happened in your story. As I reflect on what happened, I learned the importance of what? So what do you learn from this story? I learned the importance of something, okay? So if you are writing about an accident, I learned the importance of looking both ways before crossing the road. If you're writing about a fire, I learned the importance of not playing with matches. Or if you know, you're talking about someone falling down, right? I learned the importance of being careful, right? When I was walking on wet floor, something like that. So in this case, I learned the importance of what? Jing Kai?
Responsibility.
No, I want it to be more specific. What did I do in this case that led to the loss of my rabbit? So what must I learn from it? So I learned the importance of what? Josiah?
On how to check that everything is in place before I do something else.
Okay, I summarize for you lah. I learned the importance of being careful in everything I did. Right? Because it was my carelessness, right? That led to the rabbit escaping. If I had remembered to close the door before rushing off to help mother, I would not have lost my rabbit. So it was my carelessness. So what is it? I must learn to be more careful, right? Being careful in everything that I did, right? Not just about my rabbit, but everything lah. Okay, Jing Kai, yes? Do you raise your hand?
Can we add like, to this day I am still searching for my rabbit?
Sure. Okay, very good. Thank you. To this very day, I am still searching for my rabbit. So it's tragic, right? My lost rabbit. Okay? Snowy. Okay? Don't forget the name Snowy. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Jing Kai, for that contribution. And there we go. We have a story that is 300 words long. We wrote this in less than 1 hour. And we used very good vocabulary and planning. Okay, so if I was not talking to you, boys and girls, I would have written this story in 15 to 20 minutes, right? It's very fast. But of course, I don't expect you all to write the same speed as me. So maybe you can write 200 words in 30 minutes. I'm sure you can do that, right? 100 words less than this. Okay, try to aim for that. If you are a very good writer, 300 words is fine for you. But if you are not very confident, at least 200 words. That's about 1.5 foolscap paper if you leave a line. It's about 1.5 sides of the foolscap paper if you leave a line. Okay, so aim for that. 2 sides of the paper when you leave a line. 2 sides. That's what you should aim for when you write. How many paragraphs should you have? Show me with your fingers. How many paragraphs should you have? 4 or 5. 4 or 5 is good, okay? 4 or 5. Cannot be more than 3, cannot be less than 3, okay? Must be at least 4 or 5, Don't write too few paragraphs. Don't squeeze everything in one paragraph, That's the worst mistake you can make, okay? And remember to use full stop. Don't write your sentence, carry on, no full stop, comma, all the way. Don't do that, End every sentence with a full stop. If you are not sure where to put your full stop, right? Read the sentence. If you cannot breathe anymore, that's where you put the full stop. Is that clear? The sentence cannot be so long you cannot read it, right? It must be within one breath you can read the sentence, okay? So if you're not sure, make sure you always put full stops to end your sentences. The biggest mistake is one sentence for the whole paragraph. You will fail your exam that way. Use full stop, please. Okay, so later I'll tell you all these things. So now, 5 minutes left. Let's say I've got 5 minutes before I hand out my paper. I need to check. What do I check for? Okay, 1. Subject-verb agreement rule. 2. Tenses must always be in the past. Always in the past. Write down. Okay, I told you 3 things to check for, right? And 3, I described my characters and setting and objects. Okay? By describe, I mean I use adjectives to describe them, right? What does the rabbit look like? What does my character look like? Or what does the weather look like? I must describe. So, did I describe my weather? Yes. Gloomy and rainy. Then downpour, right? Heavy downpour. Did I describe the character? Yeah, I described the rabbit. Okay? I described the rabbit. Okay? I did not describe my own character because I don't describe myself. If I'm the character, I cannot describe myself. I cannot say I was a handsome boy from Sin Ming Primary School, right? Okay? I cannot do that. Okay? I cannot describe myself. So the not so good thing about first person perspective is that you cannot describe yourself. If you choose third person, if you write about the girl as Jane, then you can describe Jane. Jane was a primary 3 pupil from Sin Ming Primary School. She had 2 ponytails and loved to wear the color pink. Okay, you can describe Jane, but you cannot describe yourself. I am Jane from Sin Ming Primary School. I love to wear pink and have 2 pink. You cannot. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, so it doesn't work. If you choose first person, you cannot describe yourself, but you can describe other people. You can describe mother. You can describe your friend, your sister. So that's okay. You can describe them, but check that you have described. If you didn't describe, it's okay. Go back and then put an inverted caret. You know what I mean, right? You just draw an inverted caret, let's say like that. You put an inverted caret, then you add the description above the object or above the character that you forgot to describe. That's what the last 5 minutes is for. You want to add additional words to describe objects, characters, and even feelings, right? If you forgot to put your feelings of sadness, you can insert in the last 5 minutes. So what is Mr. Pang's point? Mr. Pang's point is please don't write until the last minute. Do you all agree with me? Don't write until the last minute because you will not have time to check. And if you don't check, right, all those mistakes you made, you will lose a lot of marks. And then you won't have time to add words to add marks. Add words means adding marks. So you cannot check for marks that you lose. You cannot add extra marks. In the end, you will not score well. So use the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes to go through your whole story again. Check for subject-verb agreement rule. Check for your tenses. Make sure all your verbs are in the past tense. Because when I talk about tenses, right, only verbs have, down here, your tenses is only verbs. Okay? Only verbs have tenses. So look for all your action words. All your action words must be in the past tense. Past continuous tense, past perfect tense, simple past tense, it doesn't matter, it must be all past tense. Cannot be present tense at all. Okay, everything must be in the past tense because your story took place in the past. Okay, everybody understand what Mr. Pang is saying? All good? Okay. Any questions at this point in time? Because we've finished the actual writing already. So I covered the 5 minutes of planning. In the 5 minutes of planning, I circle the keyword, I link it to one picture at least, and then I do my story mountain very quickly and write down what I want to, like a few keywords on my story mountain. 5 minutes, done. Then after I finish my 5 minutes of planning, I start writing my story. So first paragraph, introduction, setting, weather, characters. Second paragraph, problem. What happened? There is a problem. Third paragraph, problem gets worse, right? Rabbit out of the cage, lost. And then fourth paragraph, what is my solution? How did I solve the problem? Mother comforted me, then suggested that I make a poster so that everybody will know that the lost rabbit is found, can return to me. Put my contact details there. Then fifth paragraph, last paragraph, end the story, right? What happened in the end? Did I find the rabbit? No, I did not find the rabbit. How did I feel? I felt sad. Repeat the keyword again at the end in the last paragraph. And end with a reflection. What lesson did I learn? I learned to be more careful, right? Always follow this formula. Whatever the story, it doesn't matter. Whatever the keyword, it doesn't matter. It will always follow this structure. So follow this structure. I've taught you this. We've done it many times. You will be fine, okay? How will you score if you write a story similar to what Mr. Pang wrote here? This is worth about 18 upon 20. Okay, 18 to 19 upon 20. If you write a story similar to this, you will get the top band. Why? Because you adequately developed the theme of a sad day. You used the 3 pictures and you made use of the helping words and added additional vocabulary to describe the characters, the setting, as well as the objects. You made very few mistakes, none at all. Of course, Mr. Pang doesn't make any grammar mistakes. You made no mistakes at all. Okay, so you will score between 18 to 20. If the teacher likes your writing, very entertained by your story, you may even get 20 upon 20. It's very achievable. It's a simple thing, but you must follow the format and pay attention to the keyword. Is everybody clear? That's it. Just pay attention to the keyword, write the story, remember to give your character some feelings, remember to develop the descriptions of all your various objects, characters, and settings. And remember to paragraph everything neatly in 4 or 5 paragraphs. That's it, right? It's not difficult at primary 4 level to score well for your writing. Okay, so just keep these things in mind. Everybody clear? If you cannot remember, just review this video again. I will send this document which summarizes all the main points to look out for, as well as what are the things that you need to do for which point in your planning, and you'll be fine. Everybody okay? So I stopped here for writing. I just spent another 5 minutes talking about listening, and then we will end the session. Right? We started at 2:05, right? It's now 3:06. I'm quite close to the time I promised you, 1 hour. Okay. I just want to make a few observations. I'll start a new page here. This is for listening. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so y'all can see more clearly. Listening comprehension. Okay. So don't worry. This is the easiest section in all of English. Okay. And this is the part that I really hope I can see all of you scoring very well in. Okay. So are y'all ready? Okay. I'm just going to give you a few quick tips. Okay. Number 1. Okay. The format will be very similar to what you all have done. Okay. What is the format? Can you all still remember or not? So 3 questions are going to be on picture matching. Okay. So they will read the text. Then you have to match to the correct picture. Okay. Another 5 questions will be on note-taking. Okay. What do I mean by note-taking? Can you all remember the note-taking exercises we did? The one where I told you, you must write down an answer even if you don't know how to spell the word. Do you all remember that one? Okay. This one, spelling is not penalized. So if you spell the word wrongly, as long as I can recognize the word, I will give you the mark. So never, ever leave it blank. Is that clear? Blank is never. Never leave the answer blank. Is that clear? Even if you don't know how to spell the answer, you just write a word. Because as long as I can recognize the word, I will give you the mark. I promise you that. But blank, immediately 0. Automatic 0. So never leave it blank. And then the last 6 questions, right? You are answering comprehension. Okay? So they are reading the text to you, then you must answer 3 questions. Remember to highlight the keywords before you listen to the text, okay? Right? Remember to highlight the keywords before you listen to the text. So when the exam starts, right, then they tell you can start to write, right? Immediately when they tell you can start, you go and highlight all the keywords first. Don't wait for the recording to start. Then when the recording starts, you go and listen for the keywords. Because the keywords will help you to focus on what to listen for. If you just anyhow listen without the keywords, you don't know what you're listening for. So highlight keywords first, then use the keywords to focus your listening to the keywords that you are listening out for. Okay? Then use the second reading to check your answers. Do not sleep on the second reading. Use the second time the reading to check your answer. Make sure you heard correctly the first time. If you didn't hear correctly, change your answer. Okay, everybody? Remember, this section is the easiest to score. If you get full marks for this section, and you already know you did well for your oral, right? Your oral very well done, right? Then you will already be in a very strong position. So please don't be overconfident. Highlight the keywords. Use the first reading to find the answer. Use the second reading to check the answer. Be very sure, because you will never get to do this again. Make sure you do it properly and do it well, so you have no regrets. You will leave the exam, you know you got full marks. Don't need to, I wish I listened more carefully. Why was I so careless? Don't do that, okay? It's too late already. Listen carefully. Make sure you use the second reading of the passage to check every single answer. And remember, okay, some questions are on the next page. So don't blur, just look at one question. If the question is on the next page, you must look at both pages. Okay, look across different pages. Because sometimes you have 3 questions, right? The first 2 questions are on one page. The third question is at the back. Then you forget to turn the paper. Then you miss the third question. Then by the time you go to the third question, the reading is over already. You cannot hear it. So please make sure you check. If they tell you this text is for question 11 to 13, make sure you check 11, 12, 13. Okay? Look at all 3 and then highlight all the keywords. Look across the different pages. Do not miss any question. Okay? You will not be using the optical answer sheet. You will just be writing your answer directly onto the question paper. Okay? No OAS tomorrow. You just write directly onto the paper. Can use pen or pencil, is fine. Okay? So don't worry about it. Just write down the answer clearly. Okay? Can? Any questions about listening? I said I take 5 minutes. I literally took 5 minutes. It's now 3:11. Any other questions? Anything about tomorrow you all want to know about? Okay? You don't need to bring the composition file back anymore. Is that clear, everybody? You can keep your composition files until next year. Okay? You can put all the things out of the file so that you can reuse the file next year. Then you put everything in a nice folder and keep it for revision. Because in primary 5 and 6, you will still need your primary 4 notes for revision. Don't throw anything away. Is that clear, everybody? But you don't need to bring your composition files back to Mr. Pang anymore. Okay? After tomorrow, your composition and your listening is over for the year. We are going to focus on just our paper 2. Only one paper left. Yay! Paper 2. And then we are done for this year. Okay? I will just let you all file in all your Stella booklets after your exams on Tuesday, because you have mother tongue on Tuesday. Don't forget. I will not stress you out on Monday. Okay? So we will take a break. We'll be relaxed on Monday. And then so that you can revise for your mother tongue paper 1 on Tuesday. Then after Tuesday, we do filing. Okay? So filing, your English files are already with me. You don't need to bring anything from home. Whatever compo files you have, keep it. Okay? You can use it next year. Can? If nothing else, thank you so much, everybody. You were such an attentive bunch today. I will end the recording and the session. You all can log off if you have no questions. If you want to stay back to consult with Mr. Pang, you may do so too. Okay? Goodbye and have a lovely weekend. Rest well. All the